It was not sufficient enough. At that time, we got 18.57 crores. Out of this 20 crores, the recommendation is that 20 to 25% should be kept aside for those who are retirees, and the rest can be utilized for existing employees.
Recently, before me, Comrade Madhavan presented a lot of staff welfare scheme which is available for us in the bank. It is possible if the bank earns profit. So it is necessary to know the history of our bank. We have finished some 69 years. In the long journey of our bank, we have crossed. There were a lot of turbulences, ups and downs, and how we overcame all the troubles, and how we are put in a better situation now. Unless otherwise we peep into the past, it becomes very difficult to know about the history of our bank and what is our role play, and in future what we have to do to keep our bank at a comfortable position. As we know, banking industry, this financial sector is the backbone of the economy. We all know. A country's progress is defined by the finance sector only. So public sector banks is the modern temples of Indian economy. So we should know the history of, because after nationalization, all the public sector banks came into existence. Before then, in the earlier period of 19th century, how was the banking industry? Let us go to that. In 18th century, there were only 3 presidency banks situated. Comrade, I would request you to please listen. This program is exclusively created for you only. So it is our duty to know about our past. Okay? So these are 3 presidency banks early in the 18th century. 1806 Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. Only 3 presidency banks were given the authority to issue currency notes. Then later on, in 1864, joint sector banks created: Allahabad Bank, Aund Bank, Punjab National Bank and Alliance Bank of Shimla. See, this Punjab National Bank is even in earlier 19th century. It has crossed more than 100 years. Then later on, 4 banks: the People Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Central Bank of India. These came into existence after that. If you see in 1931, all the 3 presidency banks, which was in Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, it was merged and it formed Imperial Bank of India, which was later on converted into State Bank of India. In 1947, if we look at the banking industry which was prevailing in our country, there were 648 commercial banks, under which 97 of struggle from 64 to 69, 16 banks. 14 banks got nationalized in the year 1969, and in 1980, 6 more banks got nationalized. In 1975, to cater to the rural needs, to give credit to rural people, regional rural banks were formed. So almost 90% of the banking sector became under public sector. Then if you look at the position of branch nationalization, number of branches at the time of nationalization was only 8,262. Thereafter, it became, today if we call CMIS, it has crossed more than 80,000 branches, 3 crores. So worldwide, 368 banks have been collapsed in developed countries. In the recently 2008 depression, many banks were collapsed in so many countries. Despite that, in our country, the public sector banks were kept alive, means because it is the insulation. It was under the government-owned banks. Had it been in the private sector, means the same fate we would have gone as the Western countries got. Now, so this was the evolution of banking industry. Now, as I told earlier, it was in Birla's hand. After nationalization, it got a name of UCO Bank. We have crossed some 73 years of journey period. So now we will look at the journey of our bank. The great man, Mr. G.D. Birla, in 1942, he was thinking before independence, he was having also some social objective, thinking this banks need some expansion so that more credit can be given to the public. So he thought of it. Then 6th January 1943, his dream came into reality. The first branch was formed at number 4, Clive Street, Calcutta. First branch was opened. Then, next, India Exchange. Next, this is the formal operation. We started our formal banking operation in 10th May 1943. This is the first branch, India Royal Exchange Place at Calcutta. This is the picture. In 1943, 14 more branches were opened. All major metros and selected cities were also covered. The first year of total business is ours 16.6 crore and net profit was 4,10,875. Then in 1943, our bank names was before nationalization, the United Commercial Bank Limited. Then after nationalization, it became United Commercial Bank. Workforce were around 1,600. Now we are nearing 22,000. And total business was only 475 crores and net profit was 89 lakhs. Then slowly moving forward, in the year of 1975, the total business became to 1,046 crores. Number of branches also a little bit expanded, 830 branches. Total number of workforce became 8,000 and net profit we entered into crores from lakhs. Then if we look at the position of 1995, slowly the business rose to 15,204. Number of branches also increased, it crossed the 1,000 mark, 1,793. And total number of, that was the peak period we can say, because it was earlier the VRS scheme which was introduced in the banking. First, Comrade Partha Chanda, our workman director, to apprise our bank's position.
Thank you. Thank you, Comrade Vijay. Good morning, everybody. And especially to my Tamil Nadu friends, Kalai Vanakkam. Now the objective of this session, in very shortly I will say, is very important. See, only knowing your bank is not a formal approach. We remember there was a day, suppose in the post-nationalization era, in the 70s, in the 80s, till the new economic policy came into the country, we as trade unions also, we had an idea that bank is the subject of the management. Bank is the subject of the bankers. They are supposed to run the bank. We employees, we the unions, we will be concerned and confined within our own activities about the welfare of our people. So that was the majorly, you can say, a dominant idea prevailing at those times. But after 91, 93, after the banking reforms came into being, after government approached with this new economic policy, slowly the privatization attempts were being made. Slowly in the name of banking reforms, government wanted to encroach upon the nationalization concept, bringing on a lot of new things in the Narsimham committee, which you have seen in the PowerPoint presentation. Different committees were being formed by the government. Narsimham Committee 1, Narsimham Committee 2, Verma Committee. It was incurring consecutive losses when Vijay was telling that FM came and said it is a critically terminally ill bank. So at that point of time, our federation, at the instance of our federation, it was All India UCO Bank Employees Federation who took the lead, united all the unions, brought all the employees and officers within our rank, and we made a movement and we dedicated, we sacrificed, and for that, Government of India released the capital which was necessary for us. So in that way, slowly, we became more and more involved in the bank. See, today also, we talk very commonly that if the bank is there, if the trade is there, then the trade union is also there. So looking after the interest of the bank, taking care of the bank, within, of course, within our own limits. So taking care of the bank, taking care of our own interests are two simultaneous things that has to go together. So today's concept, when I went down in June, the June figure, 30th June, when we have just now on 8th of August, the board has passed the balance sheet. In this balance sheet, we have come out with a business figure of 3,57,000 crores, which is some 8 to 9,000 below the business figure of 31st March 2015. The deposit profit is only 256 crore, whereas the operating profit is 1161 crore. The net profit has come down to 256 crore. Why? Where this money has gone? Why this difference? The difference is due to the high provisioning. The high provisioning is mainly because it can be attributed mainly because to this high level of NPA, non-performing asset. Yesterday you were hearing from our beloved General Secretary, Comrade CHB. You were hearing from Dr. Antuan. Can you stand up and say along with us? Along with me? We shall dedicate ourselves to take UCO Bank to newer heights. With this, I thank you all, comrades. Thank you.
Go ahead. Now, even though our bank was founded in the year 1943, between 1943 to 1950, or the beginning of 1950, even though there were employees within the bank, there were no unions in any state within UCO Bank. So also in many other banks. As we told you yesterday, it was after formation of our All India Bank Employees Association in the year 1946, the bank-wise union started coming up. So also in UCO Bank, the first union came up in Calcutta in the year 1946, immediately after the formation of our All India Bank Employees Association. And in Calcutta, you can just move ahead. As we could see, the fathers of our organization at Calcutta, Comrade Samir Bose, Comrade Shankari Prasad Datta, Comrade Rishikesh Mitra, Comrade Shyam Gopal Das, Comrade S.R. Bal, Comrade Desh Pandey, and Comrade Voja from Bombay were among those who were instrumental in giving shape to the union formed at Calcutta. And among them, we are fortunate that Comrade Shyam Gopal Das is alive and Comrade S.R. Bal is alive. All others, today they are not alive. And formation of our state units, because we did not form the federation. 1946 AIBA was formed, followed by that in each state federations also were formed, emboldened by the support of the state federation. In each state, the bank-wise unions started coming up in all the banks. So also in UCO Bank, the first units came in 1953 in the city of Bombay and in the city of Chennai, followed by that in 1954 in Delhi and Gujarat. In 1961, Karnataka unit was formed. In 1965, our Punjab unit came into existence. In 1969, our Nagpur unit came into existence. And in 1971, our Goa unit was formed. 76, Kerala. 1977, 3 units, Andhra, Orissa and Pune. And in 1978, the Bihar unit was formed. 1979, our West Bengal unit, even though we formed the union in Calcutta, unfortunately, due to the anti-AIBA forces, which were trying to hijack the entire unit of our Calcutta unit, we had to form a separate unit of AIBA. That was the birth of in 1979 UCO Bank Staff Union in West Bengal. Followed by that 1980, our Himachal Pradesh unit was formed. 1982, our Assam unit was formed. 1985 was Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. These 4, 5, 6 units were also in existence in the form of unitary organization. There was no with Bihar at that point of time. So naturally, when AIBA decided to form a federal type of units in these 3 states, the birth of UP unit in 85, Rajasthan UCO Bank unit in 1986, 87 Madhya Pradesh, and after the bifurcation of the states, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh, we formed units in 2003 in both the states. So we have seen in all the states, separate units were formed under the umbrella of All India Bank Employees Association, but we did not have any apex body in UCO Bank for our own units. So therefore, it was being thought, why we should not form an apex body? Because state-wise units cannot fight for a policy matter with the corporate office sitting at Chennai, hostility against the staff. The employees scattered in different states. Even though there were units in Bombay, even though there was a unit in Chennai, or in Calcutta, or in Delhi, or in Bangalore, the employee service conditions were not uniform, and the promotional policy was not there, recruitment policy was not there, no policy was there.
Consulted by the then regional manager, Mr. K.K. Bhandari. Entire ladies of Ahmedabad, they went into deputation to Mr. Bhandari to ask for apology. He never relented. Then ultimately we had to fight. We went up to High Court. High Court also directed bank to make inquiry. This was the case. And during those periods, hearing was jammed for 15 days. And head cashier was declared innocent by the inquiry officer. I handled the inquiry. But the zonal manager and regional manager, ignoring the findings of the inquiry officer, dismissed the head cashier. But thereafter, our negotiation took place. Comrade Vijayan also came, and ultimately the person who was dismissed was reinstated, all charge sheets were withdrawn, and we again started revival of the Gujarat zone in the 1998. Thank you.
When we have started our agitation, we have raised our voice against the criminal and जो corrupted officials at that time. उसने सोचा कि शायद ये स्ट्राइक नहीं करेंगे, जो हमारे साथ एजिटेशन है. मैं दोनों मिक्स करता जाऊंगा, हिंदी और इंग्लिश, क्योंकि मेरी हिंदी भी पंजाबी जैसी होगी, मेरी इंग्लिश भी पंजाबी जैसी होगी. आई एम फ्रॉम द पंजाब. When he has started to attack us, he has suspended our 2 comrades in the Punjab and also issued the charge sheets and the, you can say, the show cause notices to all of us because we are against him. And when we have held a historic dharna against him in the Chandigarh, the media at that time in the Chandigarh, basically I can say the वहाँ पर जो local चलता है channel जिसको बोलते हैं cable TV, he has directly telecast that our dharna in the Chandigarh against our DGM. Then after 3 months, when we have agitated against him, when we have agitated against the management, जब हमने struggle किया, हमने strike किया, हमने उसके against सारा कुछ अपना दांव पर लगा दिया, तब उसको होश आया. हमारे लीडरों को बोल रहा था, मैं इसका ऐसा हाल करूंगा कि ये सब हार्ट अटैक से मर जाएंगे. लेकिन मैं जहां कहना चाहता हूं, हमने उसका ऐसा हाल कर दिया कि वो हार्ट अटैक से मर गया. वो हार्ट अटैक से मर गया. हम जीत गए. हमारी ऑल इंडिया फेडरेशन हैज एंटर्ड इन दैट. नहीं, आई एम नॉट अगेंस्ट द मैनेजमेंट, बट देयर आर सम ऑफिशियल्स जो सोचते हैं कि जब हमने सरेंडर किया है, शायद हमने बैंक सर्वाइवल प्लान इसलिए साइन किया कि हम एजिटेशन नहीं करेंगे, हम उनके अगेंस्ट नहीं बोलेंगे. उसका जब उन्होंने फ़ायदा उठाने की कोशिश की तब हमने कहा हम एजिटेशन नहीं रोका है, हमने आवाज़ को बंद नहीं किया है, हमने अंदर से बोलना बंद नहीं किया है। हमने तो सोचा है कि बैंक आगे जाए, हम आगे जाएं, हमारे एम्प्लॉय बचे रहें। मेरे जो यंगस्टर अगर आज जहां बैंक में है, इट इज़ ड्यू टू द बैंक सर्वाइवल प्लान एट बाय आवर फेडरेशन एट दैट टाइम। It under the dynamic leadership of the Comrade Vijan, Comrade Patel, Comrade Antani, Comrade